Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am popping on quickly every Wednesday to discuss a particular quote by J.R.R. Tolkien and what it means to me and how I apply it to my own life. If you would like to follow my blog, I do that as well, so you can have it in writing too. But I wanted to come on and just discuss with you today the idea of Tolkien's quotes, and one of them that has always been a really favorite of mine and has really meant a lot to me is, "The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places, but still there is much that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater." And this is a quote by Haldir in the Lothlorien Forest, one of the guards of Lothlorien Forest. And this quote comes on when Merry, one of the hobbits, is kind of remarking about the journey so far with Frodo. And he says this to him. He says, "I have never been out of my own land before, and if I had known what the world outside was like, I don't think I should have had the heart to leave it." And this is when Haldir replies with this. And this quote is significant to me because of the idea that it is so true about our own lives, that our own lives can seem dangerous and we are always in some sort of danger, or could be. And we have also grief and the pain of loss. And so we have this in our lives, but yet even within those darker things, we still have the beauty of love. And what is fair to Tolkien is what is good. So fair is not defined in his book by a particular appearance or look. It's more about the energy that it contains, the goodness, the purity, the sincerity. And so that's what really stands out about some of his characters. And so when he says, "The world is indeed full of peril," it's full of danger, and in it there are many dark places. Yes, there are many dark alleys where people can get hurt, and we see it all the time in the news. And we may experience our own dark places in our own lives when we lose somebody that we really love, and we have the experience of grief and loss. But there is much that is still beautiful in this world. And part of that beauty is to recognize and appreciate nature. And when you do, it gives you this feeling that there is beauty still in the world, even though that emotionally you may look at the world and see ugliness and darkness. And there is still much that is fair in many ways in terms of goodness. One of the things that's really beautiful to me beside nature is the act of kindness from others, the good deeds that I do see in the world. When I hear one story of one person helping out another, that is always just a little bit of that hope that I get, and it pulls me out of the dark place in my mind where I look at the world and I think that it's such a dark, kind of gloomy place to live in. All it takes is for that example of goodness to appear, and then I see it beautiful again. And of course, when I take that time and go out into nature and realize how I am surrounded by beauty all the time, then that's when I'm reminded of all that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief. And now Tolkien was kind of reaching back to, I think, his religious upbringing and his beliefs, in the idea that in the very beginning of the idea of creation, Adam, first man, and woman were on earth, and it was a beautiful place. and they were in connection with nature and animals. And when the fall from that grace happened, they learned about struggle, toil, and suffering and death. And so to Tolkien, the idea that love is now mingled with grief. So it can mean personally that your love for life will also hold experiences of loss and pain and suffering. But also it can mean on a larger level, his experience of spirituality and the idea that our world is mingled with grief from the very beginning time, and we have love also. So those two together are partners in many ways, because since love is mingled with grief and it comes with the idea that you can lose love, or that you can experience losing someone that you love, and you can experience death and destruction and danger and all that, that love, it grows perhaps the greater. Meaning that without the pain, the suffering, and the darkness and the despair that we experience, love does not grow in the mind. It's not fully appreciated for what it truly is. Love is an idea that is bigger in our hearts and our mind now, because we have the threat of losing it so close at hand. So it comes hand in hand, because without the grief, we would not appreciate the love in our lives that we have. And so you cannot have one without the other. And this is the true yin and yang balance that we see in the universe in terms of consciousness and experiences in life. That you can never go through a life thinking that you will only have beauty and joy and love and will not be touched by sorrow, loss, grief, and despair. But by being touched by those things, it makes the love that you experience in those moments stronger, greater, more appreciated. And it's definitely the stronger of the two. And if you can remember that, it can push you through those moments of grief and despair. And you will always find love once again on the other side of those things. So this quote had so much power behind it, because it was given to Frodo at a time, Merry actually, at a time when he most needed to hear that. And one of the elves, Haldir, all the elves are pretty wise on Middle Earth, but Haldir especially is able to give some wise advice to Merry at this time. And I thought that this quote was appropriate because many of us are experiencing transformation and change. And with change comes loss in many ways. So many people on our planet are experiencing some form of loss right now. But with that loss, the love in your hearts grow greater and stronger. And I really do believe that, and I have personal experience with that. So I hope that this brings some light into your life today. And I will see you all in the next video. Henley for watching.